you've been recently at the heart of, issues that name calling in Parliament, when one of your members of Parliament is alleged to have been called a murderer's daughter and all of that.
Well, I think that what occasioned that particular incident was a statement which was made in commemoration of JB Danquah. And in contributing to that statement, I stated a fact. And maybe people have forgotten. This is not the first time I engaged in such. In the Civ Parliament, similar statement was made, and I contributed and raised questions. And it took one journalist who perhaps didn't understand the nuances of his profession in France, wrote a piece about me. I responded in the Ghanaian Times. He came back, I came back, and perhaps he chickened out. Look, facts are facts. Facts are sacrosanct. What I said on that day, I made a reference specifically to political and historical fact. And that fact about JB Danquah, and these were not my words. I made references to writings, and let no one describe Martin Meredith as just any writer. And the Mahoney's book, it was a declassified CIA cables, which he wrote, and nobody has ever challenged it. JB Danquah felt so entitled that even when the money was no longer coming, he went and demanded. He felt so entitled. So these are not my words. You see, this attempt to bury the true political history of this country under a paved, of threats and tribal bigotry will not stop some of us. It won't sell. These are facts. You see, don't have any have problems with the facts that I have espoused. And then when I said that, someone, and what was Honorable Zenator's crime? And she says, sister of mine, she sat by me, and then she when the off, when you know how Parliament works, when your mic is on and another person's on the mic, you may not be able to. I made those statements, and let anyone challenge the statements I made, whether they are historical facts or not. You see, so the person who made that unfortunate statement doesn't even want to identify himself. I didn't make my statement in secrecy. Openly, I stood and I owned it. And I'm reiterating same. So if you have a problem, you can have a problem with the statement.
And such comments not even unfortunate to begin with.
When you say,
rebutting.
When you say unfortunate, what do you mean? Parliament is a house of records. Parliament is a house where facts are sacrosanct, where what you state should be factual. If it wasn't factual, the speaker would have asked me to. And in any case, I have seen there were other members of Parliament who were not happy about that, but they needed to challenge the statement I have made. I didn't say that me Mutala JB Danquah was a traitor, was a CIA agent. I said I made references to a book I read, and I still have a copy of the book in my office. And it took its own tribal bigots, and they even came to Parliament threatening to petition the speaker. We have people from their area who stood on the floor of Parliament and called President Mahama Julo. People from that area. So must Gonjas also come and demand that those people should apologize to Gonjas? I mean, this country sometimes is a joke. People have made statements. As long as you engage in politics, you should be subject to criticisms. So President Mahama family also decides, or Gonjas also decides that because Eselosu and Co ever called President Mahama Julo on the floor of Parliament, they should apologize to Gonjas. What is this? So it's a demonstration of tribal bigotry. And I'm saying that all the things I've said, maybe perhaps I need to reiterate. As a matter of fact, JB Danquah supported the vote against the motion of destiny. And the motion of destiny was the motion which was moved that occasioned the independence of this country. As a matter of fact, he supported the letter that was written to the Queen, indicating that we're not ready for independence. You see, when we had the 1948 riot, the 1948 riot was as a result of the demand that was made by ex-servicemen, Ghanaian soldiers who were sent to fight a war that had nothing to do with them. Second World War, it was not part of our war. We had nothing to do with it. But because we were still under the servitude of colonialism, they were sent to fight a war. And some promises were made of decent accommodation and some stipends that were to be given to them. Unfortunately, when they came down, they refused to give them those things. So they demonstrated. They were working towards the the castle.
The Christian Board Castle.
And then it took one very silly, and I want to avoid the words because I'm actually in the month of Ramadan. Major Imri, a British, military officer who instructed that they should be gunned down. And those ex-servicemen were gunned down. There was an upheaval. An upheaval. It generated, people started destroying things and, destroying properties of the so-called colonial masters. Now, that led to the rounding up of the so-called political figures at the time, particularly some of the UGCC members. Nkrumah was not even in Accra. Nkrumah was at Solpon. When they rounded them up, they all said they had no hands in it, that it was Nkrumah who masterminded the riot. That's what they said.
1948 riot.
That was what they said. The other 5 all said, including J.B. Danquah, that it was Nkrumah who masterminded the 1948 riot. You know what they did? They arrested Nkrumah and freed them. Nkrumah was incarcerated. Today, because some people indeed have attempted to rewrite our history, they claim that these are the Big Six. There was nothing like Big Six. A lot of them were traitors. So, if indeed Nkrumah, and in fact, as a matter of fact, if you read I Speak of Freedom, Nkrumah's book, Nkrumah indicated clearly he had nothing to do with the 1948 riot. It was an upheaval, an implosion of the Ghanaian people because of what happened at the Christian Board Castle, which is now, the Osu Castle. So there was a demonstration. When they rounded them up and interrogated them, they all said it was Nkrumah. So they freed them and incarcerated Nkrumah. Today, you want us to eulogize those people who betrayed this country. And as a matter of fact, it is important for us also to know that even after J.B. Danquah died, there was allegation that Nkrumah indeed killed him. That he was killed because Nkrumah. But when there was even a commission by the NLC to investigate the matter, sorry, the NLM or the NLC to investigate the matter, it was established that what they claim to be the cause of the death of J.B. Danquah was actually not the cause. Google bombing. And there are a lot of things if you want to. And to tell you the truth, I'm a political scientist. I hold a PhD in political science. So truth is sacrosanct to me. And I don't care who is heard by the truth. And if you observe all the cacophony that is going on, they haven't been able to challenge the statement I made. What instead they are doing, they are engaged in very silly tribal bigotry that I should apologize to Achim people because I criticized J.B. Danquah. When you had Achim MPs who stood on the floor of Parliament and called President Mahama Jilo, they called President Mills, Professor Doolittle. In fact, it was President Nanado. So Fantis should also, Fantis should come out and say that they should apologize to Fantis for criticizing Prof. Mills. Or Gonjas come out and say, apologize to Gonjas for criticizing President. What silliness is this? I
believe there's a chain or order of how these things would be, dealt with. What's the Speaker's position on this?
There was nothing wrong with that. If there was anything wrong with the statement I made, the Speaker would have had problems with it, even the MPP members of Parliament. They never asked that statement be expunged. If they felt that statement was not true, they would have demanded that it is expunged from the Hansards. I never made any statement attributing to me Mutala, who is saying that this is who J.B. Danquah is. Look, this country, there have been several attempts to rewrite the history of this country. And there have been several attempts by the NPP administration, which is a fact. You remember even the celebration of Independence Day. I'm saying that the fact is that there was nothing like Big Six.
What?
Hold on, there was nothing like Big Six. Those so-called other 5 added to Nkrumah, and they are now telling us Big Six. And that is the history that kids have been taught. That is completely misleading, because if you look at what they all did after the 1948 riot, and these are facts, the interrogation, all the statements they all made are facts. Those interrogations are very clear, and they said that they never did it. It was Nkrumah, when Nkrumah was not even in Accra. Nkrumah was put behind bars and they were freed. And you think that we should give them some honor. You see, it is important for us to understand history. It is important for us to appreciate how far we have come.
Is the ninth parliament?
Danquah might have done a lot of things. I have just said it in terms of the law, his practice and others. I don't discount it at all. I respect knowledge, I respect research, I respect people who have achieved something as a result of intellectual work, in which I respect. But when it comes to the political history of this country, these are not my West.
Are we going to use the ninth parliament to score points on political history, rebuttals here and there, because this person said this, and so we're going to now shake the core foundation of the country?
It depends on our democracy. You know, frankly speaking, such engagements are good. Look, in parliament we can debate sometimes very hot debates, and then after that you see us at a coffee shop. I mean, you would have seen the talking. Parliament is a house where brains work.
But does that sway you away from your core mandate in Parliament? So debates on bills and legislations.
The debate, in fact, a debate is part of the core mandate. The function of members of Parliament is to legislate, is to protect public purse, to demand accountability, and to ensure that because the people we represent. So you have representation, legislature, you have accountability, particularly financial accountability. We represent the wishes, the aspirations, and the feelings of the people we represent. So Parliament engage in debate.
Okay.
It's a form of education.
Right.
Because you cannot say anything in Parliament that is not factual.
Okay. Since you've mentioned legislation, let's talk about the ministry that you're heading now. From information to trade, then to here. You said you made a detour to employment labor. Okay, and now you're
2 weeks ended.
and now so you are still a minister for employment labor relations. We would say now you're
a deputy minister.
Deputy minister.
Deputy for 2 weeks. In fact, I didn't even settle.
Deputy for 2 weeks.
No, you are going to. In fact, that's one thing many people do not know.
Okay.
The first call I got was from, I remember at that time, Honorable Valerie. Said, look, the president is sending you to employment. And I thank you, and I said, extend my gratitude and thanks to His Excellency, the President. In fact, that day I packed my bag and baggage for
ready to go.
Information. Then I moved.
Okay.
I moved in there. Then I got a call again. I think about a week or less than a week or 2 weeks. Then look, they are moving you to Ministry of Trade and Industries. And I said, extend my gratitude and thanks to His Excellency, the President. And I moved there.
You're ready to serve.
Yes.
Now, your ministry, you started work in earnest. You're talking about helping fund sanitation companies, demonopolizing the system, Galamsey, lots of arable land. I hear millions of hectares lost to cocoa farms, lost to Galamsey. What is the charge that you're leading in these areas?
First and foremost, let me tackle Galamsey first. It's a catastrophic thing that is confronting us as a people. Everybody knows the consequences of Galamsey, one, to our livelihood, to our water bodies, to even our survival. And I say our survival because if we don't take time, it may affect some of our, exporting commodities, particularly cocoa. When we have the seepage of some of these heavy metals that they use, it can affect the quality of the cocoa we produce. It affects agricultural activities, it affects the livelihood of people, it affects the habitat. People, fishing communities, people can no longer fish because the water is destroyed. Galamsey, indeed, which started as socio-economic or an environmental issue, has become a political issue and featured profoundly in the last 3 elections that we have had in this country, particularly these elections. President Mahama promised to do that which has never been done, to ensure we fix this Galamsey problem. We